You exercise regularly, eat clean, but your knees still ache. Your legs feel weaker. Stairs leave you winded. You might think you're doing everything right, but you could be getting one thing very wrong: your workouts. Sometimes you don't need to do more. You need to do it better. Wrong exercises won't make you stronger. They'll just slowly wear you down until it's too late. I remember that morning vividly. Mr. Harold, 72 years old, walked into my clinic with a slight limp, his hands pressed against his knees, and a look in his eyes that was part exhaustion, part confusion. He was one of the last people I ever expected to see there. A retired firefighter. The kind of man who used to sprint up stairwells with full gear on his back. Even now, he still hit the gym 5 days a week. "Doc," he said, "I don't get it. I work out. I eat clean. I don't smoke. No diabetes. This morning, I couldn't stand up from my chair without grabbing the armrest. My legs just didn't have it. And my knees, they hurt in a way I've never felt before. I'm training with a younger coach at the gym. We've been doing deep squats with weights. They say it's the best way to keep strong." He paused again, looked down, and said more softly, "I thought I was doing the right thing." And in that moment, only one question echoed in my mind. Could it be that the very thing you're doing to stay strong is what's slowly making you weaker? Many people after 60 stay active, and that's a wonderful thing. But what I've seen even more often are people like Mr. Harold, trying, showing up, pushing themselves, but following the wrong guidance, choosing the wrong exercises, and slowly losing the very things they're trying to protect: strength, balance, independence. So if you've been working hard to keep your legs strong, but they've started to feel weaker, not better, today's video might be the wake-up call you need before it's too late. When I examined Mr. Harold's knees, the results didn't surprise me. The cartilage beneath his kneecaps had thinned. His joint lining was mildly inflamed. Signs of low-grade, chronic inflammation, the kind that doesn't scream in pain, but quietly weakens the knees day after day without you even realizing it. "I was just doing squats, Doc," he said. "Everyone says it's how you keep your legs strong." And he's right. Squats can be a fantastic exercise, but not for everybody and not at every age, especially not when they turn into deep squats with added weights, where you're not just lowering your body, but placing extra load on knees that have already carried you through 70 years of life. After 60, knees aren't what they used to be. Cartilage thins. Joint fluid decreases, making movement stiffer. Ligaments lose elasticity. So every deep bend pulls on structures that are already more fragile. And when you add weight, even just 10-pound dumbbells, you're turning a delicate joint into a hinge under pressure. Again, and again, and again. The danger? It doesn't show up with a pop, a snap, or sharp pain. It creeps in. One day, you notice stairs are harder. The next week, you're slower to stand. And then one morning, you realize you need both hands on the armrest just to rise from the couch. Not because you've suddenly aged, but because your knees have been quietly wearing down. In silence, I asked Mr. Harold, "How long have you been doing this workout?" He said, "Almost a year, 5 days a week." I nodded. "And when did you start noticing it was harder to get up, that your steps weren't quite as fast?" He looked at me, slowly. "Probably about a year ago." "That's the trap. You think you're getting stronger, but you're actually getting weaker, one rep at a time. For younger folks, deep squats can build endurance, but after 60, they can quietly erode the very thing you're trying to protect: mobility, stability, independence. Once you lose the ability to stand easily, to move confidently, you haven't just lost strength. You've lost freedom. The lesson from Mr. Harold isn't "don't exercise." It's this: exercise smarter. Train for the body you have today, not the one you had decades ago. And if you think squats are the only danger, think again. Because up next is a popular gym machine, one that looks senior-friendly, but might be quietly overloading your hips and lower back every single day. Linda was 68 when she made a promise to herself. "I don't want to be a burden to my kids," she said. So after retiring, she set a goal: move at least 30 minutes a day, every day, to keep her legs strong. She chose the stair climber at the local gym. It seemed perfect, compact, safe, indoors, and everyone said it was great for your heart and legs. For 6 months, Linda showed up faithfully, 5 days a week. But instead of feeling stronger, she started noticing something strange. Her hips felt stiff in the mornings. Her calves were sore after workouts. Her lower back tingled when she stood too long. Even walking down the driveway became tiring. Still, she pushed harder. "Maybe I just need to get used to it," she told herself. Then one day, she had to stop mid-workout. Pain was shooting from her hip down to her leg. That's when she came to see me. There was no accident, no fall. But her MRI told the real story: hip tendon inflammation, narrowing in the lumbar spine, early signs of sciatic nerve compression, all from a machine that looked senior-friendly. The stair climber seems like a smart choice: low impact, no jumping, no deep knee bends like squats. But the problem? The motion is fixed and repetitive. It locks your legs into one pattern, unlike climbing real stairs where you adjust your pace, shift weight, and use the rail if needed. Over time, that fixed movement strains your hips and knees in ways your aging joints aren't built to handle, especially after 60. Less joint fluid, slower muscle recovery, poorer circulation in the legs. The machine doesn't care if you need a break. It just keeps going, and your body has to keep up. Linda didn't do anything wrong. She was doing her best to stay healthy, just following what someone once told her was good for seniors. But her body was trying to tell her something different, through soreness, tightness, and that quiet sense of fatigue that steals your motivation. I suggested something simpler: a walk outside, flat paths or grassy parks, trekking poles to ease the pressure on her hips. 3 weeks later, she called and said, "Doctor, I'm sleeping better. My hips feel looser, and I don't wake up feeling wobbly anymore." Not every machine is made for aging bodies. Sometimes what you need isn't in the gym. It's just outside your front door. A good pair of shoes, a soft path, steady steps, and a willingness to listen to what your body is quietly trying to say. And if you've ever thought, "Oh, I don't use machines, I just do a few light dance moves in the morning," then the next part might surprise you. Because even the gentlest looking exercises can quietly wear down your knees day after day. Eleanor was 70, lively and open-minded. After retiring, she joined a morning fitness class at her local senior center. The music was upbeat, her friends were cheerful, and the workouts? Not exactly gentle. High knees, jumping jacks, even a few beginner burpees. Everyone was doing them, so she didn't want to be left behind. The young instructor said the more intense the movement, the younger we stay. She laughed. And I didn't want to fall behind. Then one morning, during a high-knee jump, she landed just a little off. A small ugh sound left her lips. No one else noticed, but her knee swelled, and her left ankle throbbed with pain. 2 friends had to help her off the floor. When I met her a few days later, the swelling had gone down, but she was still limping. I thought maybe I just needed to push through, she said, almost apologetically. I understood, and I also understood exactly why it happened. After 60, our joints aren't the same. The cartilage that cushions our knees, the stuff that absorbs shock, gets thinner. Bone density drops. Ligaments lose their stretch. And most importantly, our reflexes slow down. So when your feet land the wrong way, your body can't react fast enough to correct it, and injury follows. Movements like burpees, jumping jacks, or any kind of hopping transfer sudden force from the feet up through the knees, hips, and spine. It might not cause damage in a single jump, but repeat it often enough, and that force starts to wear down cartilage, strain ligaments, and slowly trigger chronic inflammation. The danger is you don't feel it right away. One morning you're slightly sore. A week later, your knee feels stiff. Then one day, you step down a stair, and your leg just won't hold you. Eleanor was lucky. Her injury was mild, and she recovered. But what stuck with me most was what she said before leaving the clinic. I didn't know the workout that made me happy could take away my confidence in my own steps. There's nothing wrong with wanting to stay active or flexible. But after 60, real strength isn't about how high you can jump. It's about standing steady every morning, without needing help, without fearing a step down, without slipping in the shower. If you still think real exercise has to involve jumping, maybe it's time to take a closer look at one very familiar machine at the gym. It seems safe. You sit, lean back, and lift your legs. But in truth, it may be quietly throwing off your muscle balance and pushing your knees closer to injury, 1 rep at a time. Walter was 74, and he lived with discipline. Every week, without fail, he made it to the gym 3 times. I just want to keep my legs strong, so I don't become a burden on my kids, he told me. His favorite exercise? The leg extension machine. Sit upright, grip the handles, straighten your legs. It felt safe. No risk of falling, no balance needed, just control. But recently, something changed. A dull ache started lingering around his knees. Getting into a chair was easy, but standing back up required pushing off with his hands. Climbing stairs meant stopping halfway to rest. He hadn't stopped working out. He hadn't changed his routine. So what was going on? The answer was right there in the machine he trusted most. The leg extension machine looks senior-friendly. You're seated, supported, and it seems gentle enough. But the motion it creates? Completely unnatural for aging knees. When you lift your legs on that machine, all the pressure gets directed straight through the front of the knee, especially the patellar tendon. Now think about this. In real life, when you stand up or walk, your glutes, hamstrings, core, and quads all pitch in. It's a team effort. But on this machine, only your quads are doing the work. Over time, that isolates the front of the thigh and leaves the back weak. That imbalance doesn't just affect your strength. It throws off your stability. Your legs stop working together. You begin to lose the ability to balance naturally. And for someone over 60, that imbalance is costly. Cartilage is thinner. Ligaments are less elastic. Repeated strain from isolated leg lifts can silently inflame and wear down knee joints without you feeling it right away. When I explained all this to Mr. Walter, he paused for a moment, then said quietly, "I thought I was strengthening my knees, not weakening them." We completely changed his routine. No more machines. Instead, every morning he practiced simple sit-to-stands from a chair, 10 reps. We added a light resistance band just above the knees to activate the glutes and hamstrings. And he walked short distances every afternoon. After 1 month, he no longer needed to push off with his hands to get up. "My legs feel like they're working together again," he smiled. That's the real lesson here. Just because a machine exists in the gym doesn't mean it's right for you. Just because you're sitting with back support doesn't mean your knees are safe. Your body was never meant to be trained in pieces. It was meant to move as one. And if you've been thinking machines are the safest option, then the next part might surprise you. Because one of the most common forms of exercise, running, might be silently draining your legs day by day without you even realizing it. Mr. Robert, 69, had been a lifelong runner. At 50, he finished a full marathon. And even after retirement, he stuck to his routine, running 3 miles a day, most days of the week, right on the treadmill in his living room. "I always believed if I just kept running, I'd never really grow old," he told me, half smiling, half exhausted. But then his body started to speak up. It began with tight calves in the morning. Then came a dull ache in his lower back. Eventually, his left knee would make a clicking sound every time he stepped down off the porch. Instead of resting, he ran more, thinking maybe his body was just being lazy. But the pain didn't fade. It got louder. When he came in for a checkup, I examined his joints, gait, and muscle tone. The conclusion was clear. His body was being worn down by the very habit he thought was keeping him healthy. Long-distance running, especially on a treadmill, creates repeated micro-trauma. When you're younger, your body recovers fast. But after 60, cartilage is thinner, ligaments less flexible, and your ability to absorb shock decreases. Every foot strike on a hard surface becomes another slow grind on your knees, hips, and spine. Worse yet, treadmills don't mimic real-life movement. The belt pulls your foot backward, which means your body doesn't have to push off naturally. Over time, this leads to weak glutes, a shorter stride, and a misaligned gait. When your glutes weaken, your pelvis becomes unstable, and that throws off everything from your lower back down to your heels. I asked Mr. Robert, "When's the last time you ran and it actually felt good?" He paused, then said quietly, "Maybe a few years ago." We made a shift. Instead of running, he switched to interval walking. Brisk walking for 2 minutes, then a slower pace for 1. Outdoors, on a grassy trail near his house, we added gentle core strengthening, light stretching after each walk, and resistance band work for stability, just twice a week. After 6 weeks, he stopped waking up with back pain. His stride lengthened. His breathing felt easier. And most importantly, he no longer felt like he was running just to outrun aging. He was finally moving in rhythm with this chapter of his life, and still feeling strong. Mr. Robert's story is a gentle reminder. Just because you're moving doesn't mean you're helping your body. And just because you're running doesn't mean you're staying young. After a certain age, slowing down, intentionally and wisely, can take you much farther than trying to outrun the clock. So if you're wondering, what kind of exercise does help keep my legs strong, my knees steady, and my back pain-free after 60? The next section will guide you through just that, Simple, gentle movements that can preserve your independence longer than any machine ever could. I first met Ms. Marjorie when she was at a point many older adults quietly face. She was starting to lose faith in her own body. At 73, a retired librarian from Oregon, she had always been known for her discipline. She got up early for fitness classes, hit the gym 3 times a week, did 2 aerobic sessions, and even swam with friends on weekends. But lately, her knees ached. Stairs became harder, and each morning, instead of feeling energized, she just felt tired. "My trainer keeps telling me to push harder," she said. "But the harder I push, the weaker my legs feel. Sometimes I'm scared to step down from a curb." During our evaluation, something became very clear. She wasn't weak from lack of exercise. She was wearing herself down by moving the wrong way, at the wrong intensity, at the wrong stage in life. She was exercising like she was still 40, and that's exactly why her 73-year-old body had stopped cooperating. So we started over. No more weight machines. No more heavy lifting. No more high-impact aerobics. Instead, we focused on these simple, gentle movements. Sit to stand from a chair 10-15 times every morning, helping her knees and hips stay in rhythm with her body's natural movement. 20-minute afternoon walks on grass or flat pavement. No heavy purses, no high-heeled shoes. Chair yoga twice a week, centered on breathing, stretching, and balance. Light resistance band exercises to gently activate her glutes, thighs, and deep core muscles for better stability. No pushing harder, just moving smarter. After 1 month, she told me something I'll never forget. "Doctor, for the first time in 2 years, I walked up my stairs without holding on to the rail. My legs didn't shake. They didn't hurt. I was shocked by my own body." She wasn't doing more. She wasn't running, jumping, or lifting weights. She was simply moving in a way that matched the reality of being 73. A body that was still strong when guided the right way. Here's the truth. After 60, there's nothing left to prove. It's no longer about muscle tone or performance. It's about standing up without help, walking without fear, and living each day with a sense of calm control in every step. And if you're ready to reset, to move with wisdom, stay strong, and truly protect your legs, then this final section is for you. It's a quiet reminder, one that just might change how you see aging from this moment on. Someone once said, "Old age doesn't begin when your hair turns gray. It begins when your steps no longer feel steady." And I believe that. Strong legs aren't just for walking. They are the foundation of your independence. They're what let you get out of bed without grabbing the edge, go to the store on your own, climb a few steps without gasping or fearing a fall. They are freedom, quiet, real, and easy to lose. And here's the danger. That freedom doesn't disappear overnight. There's no big injury, no dramatic pain. Just a few gym machines that seemed safe, a Sunday morning dance class with friends, a daily jog on the treadmill, never realizing that each step might be slowly grinding down your joints. Then little by little, you start needing your hands to push off the couch. You become hesitant in the shower. You say no to trips because I'm not sure I can walk that much anymore. We can't stop aging, but we can stop doing the things that quietly make us weaker. Today, you've seen why deep squats with weights can harm your knees, why stair climbers might not be as heart healthy as you thought, why fast-paced jumping workouts can be a nightmare for cartilage, why leg extension machines often weaken your balance, and why running, something that once kept you young, might now be the reason you move slower, feel tight, or wake up with pain. Now you know, and knowing is how you begin to protect yourself. I'm not telling you to stop moving. I'm asking you to reconsider how you move, based on the body that's carried you through more than 60 years of life. Start small, stand up and sit down the right way. Walk on soft ground. Use light resistance bands instead of weights. Don't exercise to prove anything to anyone. Exercise to hold on to the most precious thing you have, your independence. If this video made you rethink your routine, please share it with someone you care about. Someone who might also think this workout is good, not knowing that their body is quietly saying otherwise. And if you're ready to keep moving forward, wisely and safely, tap that subscribe button, because our next videos will keep helping you live strong and free, not by fighting your age, but by understanding and honoring it. Leg strength is freedom, and freedom should never be lost in silence.